Forged from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. Good evening, everyone. Hope you are all well. If you are new around here, please don't forget to like, comment on, or share the stream. Even actually, if you're an oldie, please don't forget to like, comment, and share the stream to your social media platforms. Come one, come all. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you hasn't done so already, and hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. We thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. Duke, we are here to discuss the aftermath of Matchday 18 of 38 in the Premier League at Elland Road, Leeds United 2, and our very own West Ham United 2. Yes, as it says on the description, was it a point gained? Was it 2 points dropped? That's what we're going to get into. But before we get into that particular thing, and before Duke and I have a little back and forth about the pros and cons of the game that took place yesterday, this was the team that lined up. Start at the beginning then, Duke. 6:45, the squads were announced, and that was West Ham's matchday squad that you saw there. What were you thinking?
Honesty
is the best policy, unless your missus asks you, does my bum look big in this? In which case, it's acceptable to bullshit.
No, it's acceptable to say fucking massive.
You're on your own now.
Oh, it don't matter. I'm going to get hurt anyway.
Fair.
Yeah. Right, you asked me what was I thinking?
A little bit hammer. Yes.
The question I've got then to respond to that was, what was he thinking?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason for this. There's a reason for this. I saw the lineup come out after I'd played a game of air hockey with my children, which was fun.
Nice.
In the house, we got an air hockey table now for Logan for Christmas. So
Very
I'm
good.
currently the bedtime champion on a score of 1 to. What is going on my face? Why is it red in some place? Anyway, bedtime champion, 1st to 9. He's the morning champion. I'm the bedtime champion. Anyway, enough of that. Scored more goals in one game than West Ham have most of the season. To be honest with you. Right. So the question was,
Hey,
what was
Tom.
he thinking? Because for me, we have two perfect evening, Tom. You're right, it has been. I thought that got two perfectly capable left backs on the bench at this point, right? In
Mhm.
Aaron Cresswell and in and Glenn Ben, right?
Evening, Joan.
We had two perfectly good left back choices on the
Hammeret.
bench, right? Um, so unlike Kent, who says there at 6:45, I thought we was playing with three at the back and four nows was filling in at left wing back. I didn't think that in the slightest, if I'm honest with you. I because I saw the lineup was sent to me, and it was obviously a screenshot of a website that did the formation. I saw straight away that Kera was filling in at left back.
Mm.
And I asked myself the question why.
He didn't exactly rip
Why?
it up at right back, did he?
No, he was playing, and it showed, Rob. But I have to say, you know, the same graphic I saw put the
Evening,
same
Kent.
graphic up as you put with the three. But I actually think Paqueta um, was the central of the three. The way he was playing, he played a lot more central, I felt,
Okay.
at certain points in the game. Um, so we got to kick off, Rob, right? And I found myself in the south of France.
Funnily enough, so did I.
And I have to say, I was with 6 or 7 friends. And yes, I do have that many. And no, you weren't one of them.
Oh, cheers.
Um, no, you weren't one of them that were here. That's what I was
All right,
getting
all
at.
right, all right. Okay. Understood. Evening, Peter.
There was myself, West Ham fans. There was myself, Francis. Forgive me because I've forgotten the other gentleman's name, and I feel really bad for it.
You just said he was
There
your
was
friend. You don't even know
there
who
was
he is.
Paul. I'm thinking West Ham fans. Paul, Buzz, and then we had Tony, who was a Millwall fan.
Ah,
Right.
that must have been hard for him
I was
because Millwall
impressed,
hate
Rob,
West Ham and Leeds.
the first 10 minutes of the game. I was impressed with just how high we pressed. Right.
Hmm.
It still wasn't great. It still could have been better, but we didn't actually.
Happy
Let
New
me
Year, Simon.
rephrase my comment. We didn't press. Happy New Year, Simon. We didn't press high. We defended high, and by that I mean we didn't drop back to the halfway line with Scamacca, Bowen, and Fornals. They actually stayed in their half when we lost possession of the ball, or Leeds gained possession of the ball in and around their box, right? And I was making comments like I've made for the last few videos about Scamacca, Bowen, and Fornals taking out three of the four, and
Hmm.
then either Paqueta pressing up to create the fourth, which then meant their only outs in these images here would have been Rocker and obviously Adams. But that would have left you with Rice and Souček
Mm-hmm.
to have picked those two up, and then between Somerville, Nonto, Aronson, and Rodrigo, you've got Kara, Sufal, Dawson, and again, man for man marking, if you will, right? So, although we were defending higher and our attacking players stayed relatively high up the pitch, at one point they still managed 27 passes before we actually laid a hand on them. And by laying a hand on them, I mean getting close enough to touch them or put a tackle in, right? 27. For me, still not good enough, but it was nice to see that they were sat higher up the pitch. I do think Agerd and Kera have something to do with that because there is pace between them, right? Okay, Kera has a ricket left, right, and centre, and by that I mean defensive positionings, but there
Yeah.
is pace there. Yeah. So I felt that that's why we defended a bit higher up the pitch in case they got in behind us.
Hmm.
Like I say, I was impressed with how high we sat. Yourself?
Yes, I did notice that we were a little bit higher up the
Talking about
pitch.
the first 10 minutes at a minute. Just the first
Yep,
10,
yep, yep.
15 minutes
It,
is,
it
is what I'm
seemed
discussing. Yeah.
it seemed that way from the outset, and yeah, I pretty much agree with your assessment there. Obviously, as the game developed, obviously things started to change, and obviously they got a goal after what was it, 27 minutes, and we spoke about the fella, didn't we? That Wilfred Gnonto, little sort of like little man syndrome. I'm sure he's got.
Didn't he just?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, didn't he just at points? And we'll get onto that a bit later
yeah.
on. But I'll tell you what, he was a Jack Russell yesterday, right?
Mm.
And again, I'll talk a bit more. He was
A
Jack
latter day
Russell.
Billy Bremner.
I came away from this game, Rob, going, I hope they go down and we don't, because I'd fucking love him. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, no, yeah, just looking here. So 27 minutes, Wilfred Gnonto puts them in the lead. And to be honest, from that point on in the second half, I got to be honest, I didn't think we created as much as I think we should have done from that point on.
Or people think we did. I'd like to put that out there as well, because there seems to be a lot of. I've watched a lot of reviews.
Hmm.
I don't
They were half
think.
chances, but that's about it. I'll tell you who
Mate,
I
some of them
thought
weren't
was.
even there.
I'll tell you someone who I thought was playing more where I think you and I have spoken about this, where we would like him to play. And that was Thomas Souček. I don't know about you. I thought he was getting further forwards more often, which is obviously what we've spoken about, which is what what he did before, getting forward, getting into the box. He had a couple of opportunities in the first half. Didn't sort of make the most of it, it has to be said, but he was getting in the positions, which I think I'm looking at it because we reverted to a 4-3-3, as you can see on that graphic there. And Declan was definitely the one that was sitting of the three of Rice, Souček, and Paquetá. Declan was definitely the one that was holding.
Yep.
And Thomas was definitely getting further forwards. I mean, we're going to see a little graphic of the players' average positions. You can see quite clearly that there was a massive difference between where Declan was usually situated and Thomas was situated, which is what we need to, I think, what we need to see. I think we need to get back to what worked.
I mean, listen, I'll go back and I'll just quickly cover their goal. It's another fucking throw on, Rob.
Again.
Right? So the throw on comes, I believe, looking at this from their right hand side.
Mm-hmm.
It was thrown in. I can't remember who it was without going back and watching the game again, and I really don't want to. I think it was a quick pass into someone in the middle of the pitch. And Gnonto, Dawson gets Dawson gets in caught in two minds, Rob.
Mm.
Now, I'm going to blame Kara, I'm going to blame Souček, and I'm going to blame Dawson for this goal because they were not faced up where they should have been, from
Okay.
what I remember. Charlie, you're right. The last four goals we've conceded have all come from throw-ins and our inability to defend.
Yep.
So this one, the throw comes in. Kara's not faced up and switched on. Souček is not faced up and switched on. And Dawson gets sucked in. Now, I think it's Rodrigo, Rob, that drops deep. The ball
Yep.
comes in. I think it's Aronson. Aronson collects the ball. It's a quick ball, or it's a flick. I can't remember if it's the header inside to Rodrigo or whether Aronson was. It was one of the two goals. Is a flicked header inside. Right. I think it's the second goal was the flicked header inside, and then it was laid into Rodrigo, who then obviously gets past, I think, Dawson, and then he scores. But the first one was it was a ball into it. I'm sure it was Aronson's feet. He turns, lays it into Rodrigo, who takes maybe one or two touches. Then what happens is Dawson thinks, I'm coming out for this one. And Dawson takes 2 steps forward. Now, what happens on the first of those 2 steps is Rodrigo looks up and Nonto actually starts his run. And it's at that point that Dawson then goes to put his second foot down that all of a sudden he realises, shit. Because Ganonto's on his toes. And the second that he goes to put that second foot down, Rodrigo releases the ball. And it's a fantastically weighted pass. It is outstanding weight on a pass. For several times, I wish Declan Rice could have passed like that last night, but I'll come to that for the second half shortly. And it's perfectly in stride. Okay, he doesn't have to check his feet. He doesn't have to change the way he's running, his gait, anything. The pass is there, and he just lets go. And Fabianski stood watching. Okay, it's about, what is it, 15, 16 yards out? I think he's just inside the box.
Yeah, he wasn't getting that.
He makes connection with it. And it's low, it's hard, it's driven. And in all fairness, from Leeds' point of view, it's a good goal. It's a good goal, Rob. Right? From a West Ham point of view, again, it is bullshit. Right? It's an easy goal to score when you're allowed the time, the space, and the mistakes that were made to score that goal. For me, dog shit. But the pass, like I say, I believe it was from Rodrigo. But looking at your thing here, is the assist Somerville? I'm sure it might have been Aaronson. It's someone
for the second goal.
First goal. I'm sure Rodrigo.
Yeah, it was Somerville.
Well, for the first goal, I thought it was Rodrigo.
Yeah.
But the pass is weighted perfectly.
Hang on.
The pass is weighted perfectly, and like I say, Nonto just has to react, Rob, when it gets to his feet. It's a really good goal to take, and for all our blunder busting in the first 10 minutes, we find ourselves behind from a fucking throw on.
It's getting a little bit repetitive, that, isn't it?
Well, it gets better, doesn't it, as we go into the second half? But I don't want to.
Yeah, but by that time,
jump too far in front.
We got an opportunity. It was Scamacca on the left, plays the ball into the penalty box. And Bowen comes across Struijk, and there is a collision. The referee doesn't initially give a foul, and I can understand the reasons why, because obviously he's letting play carry on, isn't he? The ball drops to Paqueta.
Hang on.
He then offlays it.
Lean forward a minute. Lean forward a minute.
Yeah.
Just put my hand on your forehead to see if you've got some sort of fever going on. What do you mean you don't understand why he didn't give the penalty?
No, I didn't say I don't understand why he didn't.
Why you don't?
I can understand why he's let the play carry on.
No. Right? I understand anywhere else on the pitch, Rob. if he plays advantage. Not in the box. Not in the box, no.
Right.
And the fact that he
Disagree
then
with
has
you
to
because
sit there and go, okay, we'll wait for VAR to come back to me and we'll see if it's a penalty. That 3 minutes, and it was 3 minutes because I counted, that 3 minutes when Pablo Fornals decided that he didn't have Billy's boots on last night. And for those of you old enough, listen, if she doesn't know who Billy's boots are, she's too young for you. Clear that up straight off the bat, especially someone our age. He didn't have his Billy's boots on, right? It should never have got to that, Rob. And I'll tell you why. Okay,
they're
let me
told to
rephrase that.
let the play flow.
Not in the penalty box, they're not, Rob.
No. I'm not
Not in
having
the
that.
penalty box, they're not.
No, I'm not having
listen,
that.
unless things have changed, I used to be a qualified referee, I had all my licenses, Any foul inside the box that is deemed a foul, you're not to play on. You give the penalty. You are told you do not give advantage and play on in the box. You are told if there's a foul in the box, a penalty is to be given. That's why VAR came in and when, you know what, you've got to give the penalty regardless whether you played on and West Ham didn't make the most of their advantage. That's why the penalty was given. You're not supposed to play on a foul in the box.
Well, he didn't initially give it though, did he? He didn't initially give it.
No, and I don't know why. I don't know why. It's not like it wasn't. It's not
I
like
think I don't think the refs on the pitch. It seems to me since the introduction of VAR, and this might be me being very uncharitable, it seems that they don't give it, and they think, well, if it's something I've missed anyway, it's just going to go to VAR and they'll pick it up there.
Yeah, but then my point is, we might as well do away with them and just have a drone on the pitch. A drone with a very loud whistle. Is that a rugby cup, Robert? Is that from?
It is actually. Yeah.
Is it from Twickenham?
Yep.
Yeah, I've got several. See, good that. I've got eyes. No, I just listen. I think it was really poor from the referee. I think that, like you say, I think he bottled it. I'd like to say I think the referee massively bottled it. It was clear that it was a penalty. You're welcome. And he just bottled it. I mean, it's as clear. It's as clear as the day, mate. As clear as a foggy day on Beachy Head. No, it was ridiculous. For me, it was a straightforward, clear. You couldn't have gotten a more obvious pen in the Premier League this season, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But the build-up play was fantastic. And the fact that Bowen had managed to pull Struijk across the box, and this is what I found happened quite often last night, was where Bowen kept coming inside and coming across the D, if you will, it kept causing their left back to come with him, which then freed up the space for Paqueta. The one in the box was Fornals at that point, obviously, because he absolutely spooned it like a knob, well wide. But definitely a penalty. I don't know why it took 3 minutes from Fornals putting it wide to VAR actually giving the penalty. It was clear, and as Ken says, he was 70 yards away, and he could see it was a pen.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm not saying, you know, all I'm saying is that I cannot personally. This is just my opinion. I can understand the referee. If the referee had have thought, I think that's a penalty, but I'm just going to let this play on, and if West Ham score from open play, fair enough. I haven't got to make a call on it. I can kind of get it. But I do kind of look at it afterwards and go, well, once Pablo Fornals rolled it past the post, and I still look at that and go, oh, mate, he should have fucking buried that. Seriously? Hey ho.
Well, listen.
Why they didn't come back and go, right, okay, we're coming back for the penalty. I played an
advantage. I actually did think I wanted to get in a cab. I did think I wanted to get in a cab because if Paqueta had missed that penalty, I was getting in a cab to Elland Road to beat the shit out of both him and Fornals.
What did you think when you saw the stuttering run up? Were you a little bit, oh shit, here we go, he's going to sky it or whatever?
Right, I was drinking Heineken Zero last night.
That was a
Okay,
mistake.
I was drinking non-alcoholic lager, and if I'd been drinking lager, I have a feeling I'd be looking for a new TV in my pub today
Really?
because I was so close to lobbing the bottle straight at the screen because it was that, and I was like, just fucking run and kick the poxy thing at the goal, please. Like, stop dicking her. But do you know what my favourite part of the penalty was, Rob? Was he
When it
looked
went in the
over
back of
there
the
and
net?
he kicked the ball that way,
Oh, the no
right?
look. Yeah.
Who takes a no look penalty? Like, please stop. And the power he got, considering it ended up being just a one step up to the ball, when you consider all that
Yeah.
bollocks, it was, he got a lot of power behind that and put that top bins.
Well, no, you say top
Facilier,
bins. It wasn't. It wasn't top bins.
listen, anything that was out of the reach of the goalkeeper was good enough for me, and that's top bins.
Mm.
He probably put it about a foot above the keeper's hand. Job done. It's a goal.
Oh, yeah.
And I think from the first 10, 15 minutes where we did seem to actually want to play football, and maybe the last 5 gave us kind of 20 minutes and a half out of 25, I actually think 1-1 going into half time was a fair result.
Yeah. We didn't have to wait
You
long
know,
to.
colour me wrong, but I actually thought it was.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have to wait long until we actually managed to find ourselves a goal up. Quite surprisingly, it was a bit of a defensive lapse, but Scamacca was onto it in a flash.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if we're gonna discredit the young lad, who was the defender that gave it
It was
away?
Aronson, I believe.
It was Aronson, wasn't it?
Mm.
Right, just quickly, who's the guy in the Leeds team with the Clark Gable tash?
Oh, you're not
Please
on
tell me
about
someone else saw.
Pascal Struijk. He was the guy that gave
Was
away
that
the
him?
penalty. He was the one that gave the penalty
What,
away.
in with a porn star, Dirk Diggler? Like,
I'm
I
sure that's
so
the one
wanted to
you're
just
talking
go up to
about.
him with a
Yeah.
waxing strip across his top lip and get rid of that. He looked like a knob.
He plays for Leeds. We don't care.
Side note. So yeah, if we're going to talk about if we're going to talk about Aronson's misplaced pass, and I tell you what, it was only a misplaced pass because the other Leeds defender stopped running in the direction he was passing it in. The Leeds, if you go back and watch it, the Leeds defender is actually running across the pitch to where that ball would have been. That would have been a completed pass if the fella hadn't have stopped when he. But basically, it was a 1-2. But if we're going to go back to it, let's just clear it up. It was actually a really poor pass from Declan Rice that awarded us that goal, because that was the beginning of that. He actually lost the pass. The ball was then played into Aronson, who then misplaced the pass again, straight into the path of Scamacca, who just turned and, well, that's what the boy does, right? And he gives it all of this as he runs off and
Took it
celebrating.
really early,
And
didn't
I
he? Let it
literally,
run across him.
across him and bang, right?
Bang.
Keeper didn't
Get
stand a
him.
chance because he took it so early. Yeah.
Very Robbie Fowler-esque.
Yeah. I
Taking
actually
the shot
turned
early.
round and shouted, that's what he does. That's what he does. That's where the boys Scamacca, right? You watch his goals on YouTube for Sassuolo. That's what he does. That's what he's capable of. And as I say, I sat there in the pub and I went, that's what he does. Okay.
That's how you got to feed
Great
him.
finish. I actually really, really felt good at that moment in time. For the first time in weeks, months as a West Ham fan, that 47 minutes into a game, I actually felt good for a change.
Evening,
Good
Chris.
evening, Chris. I was actually enjoying a game of football. I was actually just enjoying the fact that we were 2-1 up, and I actually felt at that point, if we continued to do what we'd been doing, we'd go on and get another one and win.
Yeah, but you know that the way that we've been playing lately, that we're always going to give the opposition a chance, and so it proved. I mean, I don't know about you. I actually think it's the same old problem that we've got in that defensively we're not good enough at crucial moments, and substitutions. The substitutions for me are what
Well,
changed the game in Leeds' favour. I thought Jack Harrison made a big difference to Leeds at that point, whereas our substitutions involved taking both our goal scorers off the pitch. I was like,
well,
really?
our three subs
We're
last
going to
night, and
cover
there were
this
three, weren't
towards
there?
the end,
Thank you,
Chris,
Chris.
but echoed.
There were three subs, weren't there, for West Ham? Am I
Four.
right?
Four.
Four.
Hmm.
Who was the fourth one?
One was Kufal, one was Scamacca,
Yeah,
one was Paquetá,
yeah.
and the other one I think was Fornells, if I remember it correctly.
Okay, well, what I will say is the moment we took off, our three best players last night, our three best players went off as subs last
Hmm.
night. In fact, our four best players went off as subs
Yeah,
last night. I'm not
Scamacca,
going. If it
Fornells,
was four
Paquetá,
nails that went off,
Kufal.
yeah. Four nails went off. I am certainly not going to take away what that man did last night. He ran again. You know the old adage: covers every blade of grass. Left it
He
all
did.
out there. That was four nails for me last night. Bar his finishing,
Yeah.
okay. He was an absolute workhorse. Soufal. Let me touch on Soufal for a minute. Not literally, although if he'd let me after last
Cheers,
night, I
Charlie.
probably would. He wound them up like a bastard yesterday, right? And I loved it. And what I actually give credit to the referee up until the
Evening, Ed.
challenge by by Jimmy Somerville on Soufal was
Hmm.
there was a lot of strong, hard, old school challenges, Rob,
Don't
going in
mind
both
that.
sides. Not
Yep.
not not just Leeds, but you know what I actually have a lot of credit for that is
Cool.
the referee going, "Go on in, carry on. You're doing it. You're doing it. Get on with it." He didn't blow up a great deal, Rob. It was only for the late ones.
But
Anything that was
was
a
that a red?
50-50 bang, right, let me get to that. So if you watch Jesse Marsch pissed me off last night massively. There was shades of Mikel Arteta in
Yeah.
Jesse Marsch last
Yeah.
night. Now
Oh
they
my
thought they'd
God,
won a
that's
throw on. They thought they'd won a throw on. Or
Yep.
they thought they should have had a free kick and West Ham won a throw on. He picked the ball up, Rob, and he walked 25 yards down the touchline,
Yep.
right?
Out of his technical area.
With the ball. Oh, yeah, right. With the ball, 25 yards down the touchline, then comes back and puts it on the floor and goes, "That's where it was. That's where," and I was like, "Mate, you're embarrassing yourself. Stop it, right? Just stop." But then Soufal, as Kent just
That
says
is true,
there,
John.
Soufal was very clever yesterday. Very clever, very streetwise.
Hmm.
And all he did was stand his ground because he realised the referee wasn't going to give free kicks. He wasn't going to let players buy free kicks. Let me rephrase that. So if you watch, there were 3 or 4 occasions on both sides. Bowen did it and Somerville did it,
Yep.
where they were going to try and weren't going to beat the player, So they're going to knock the ball past the player and just run straight into him, knowing that the player can't get out of the way. But the referee went, no, you're not buying free kicks off of me tonight. It's not happening. You want to run into the fella, that's on you. Get up, get on with it. Said it to Bowen 2 or 3 times, and he said it to Somerville. Soufal could see that they were getting like this, and it was brilliant because Somerville goes to run past him and bounces back towards their dugout, right? And the referee gives nothing, and he gets up, and you can see he's angry. And that's, for me, the point where VAR should have stepped in. Because he comes in, and it is so late. It is so high. You only have to look at Soufal's injury as he goes off. And even the commentator turns around and goes, I actually thought he pulled his foot out. I actually thought that was the only thing that kept him on the pitch, was the fact that he pulled his foot out of the challenge. Yeah, tell Soufal, just below Soufal's knee, that gap between where normal people wear a shin pad. You know, when I say normal people, I mean you and me, not a professional footballer wearing a 2-year-old shin pads, right? Because they're probably about the same size
Like Jack
as my
Grealish, isn't it? He
microphone,
has the
which you can't see now. Right? Yeah, they're wearing mini youth shin pads. But if you look at that gap between his knee and where his shin pad would be,
Evening,
then
Paul.
I watched a game of pool yesterday. We had so much fun last night. I was actually fuming. I do believe the C word left my mouth about 16 times in about 8 seconds after this foul. Is it on Suf? Yeah, that one. It was an awful challenge, Rob. Like, if Soufal's leg is planted, that pretty much ends his career at top level, because that could have snapped his leg. Yeah. The way that he kind of has to grab his leg out of the way, he kind of moves with the challenge, so he doesn't take the full brunt, because he would have broke his leg, Rob. I'm convinced. Now, I'll tell you what I enjoyed at the moment of that foul was our dugout going, go fuck yourself, and all of them were up. They were all up, and they were all in there, right? Part of me wanted to see, as Paul says there, I would have loved to have seen Soufal get out and just absolutely smash the shit out of him at the next available moment. But Jesse Marsch went, get him off now, because it ain't going to end well.
Get sent off.
And they obviously took him off. One of them would have walked. Rob. There's no two ways about it. Either that, or it would have been Jimmy Somerville going off to sing again with his leg in plaster, because he would have been broken. But Soufal, as Paul says, one of his best games in months for me. Absolute months. He was as Ken says, he was very streetwise. He was very savvy. He actually played the game really well. We played it up here yesterday, knowing where he could get the benefit of the leaving the foot in, sticking an elbow out where an elbow needed, as we call it, the European dark arts, Rob. Couple of little nigs, little ribs.
When they're down on the floor, you pick them up, go under the armpits, squeeze, twist.
Yeah, give them a pinch in the back of the leg when they're at a corner, all of that shit. Yeah. But again, Rob, their second goal was from another throw on.
Yeah. Talk me through it, old chum.
I think it was a misplaced pass from Declan Rice, if my memory serves me right, or he kind of slashes at it. It goes out of play. It's not even a quick throw, Rob. That is what gets me. It's not like a ball boy picks the ball up. That's true. It's not like the ball boy picks it up and lobs it straight back at him to get the ball back in play quickly. A bit like Liverpool a number of years ago. Do you remember that? Yeah, Marsch said, don't leave him that way. It was a kind of a 5 or 6 second gap between the ball going out and the ball coming back into play. And again, it's a ball to feet. And again, we're not faced up. the ball goes out of play and we're just kind of meandering back to do-do, 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 do-do. We're not paying attention. Again, Carer's not faced. I think Carer was still on at this point. He's not faced up. We turn.
Carew, yeah, he played the whole match.
Yeah, no, I mean at this point, if at this point the Soufal substitution for Cresswell, etc.
Oh right, yeah, I believe Cresswell was on at this stage from memory.
Yes, Hammer89. Drop me a message on Twitter. Drop me a message on Twitter at Hammers Duke, and I will talk you through some bits and give you some advice if you are
He's
really,
your
really
man.
looking to do that. Again, we're not switched on. We're not faced up. Several players not where they should be, in my opinion. A lot of space for players to run into, which they were exploited it. They kind of ran through. I think it was Nonto at this point. Great ball to Rodrigo. But again, Dawson stepping into the pass instead of going with the runner. And again, he makes the one step as the pass comes in, and it's easy for Rodrigo just to take one touch to bring it away from Dawson and towards the box. Again, it's a finish, and it's one of them, mate, where I'm looking at it going, fucking why? Why can't we? That's all right, mate. You're welcome. Why can't we defend a throw on? Why can't we get faced up? Why can't we close the space in between the back line essentially being on our box or just outside our box, again, as we've discussed, to where our forwards are. There was a huge, and even Declan Rice and Thomas Soucek, there's a huge gap between our back line and Declan Rice and Potato Salad. And it was just, I watched it back over and over again. I was like, when are we going to learn? When are we actually going to understand that that's now the fourth goal in 4 goals that have all come from throw-ons? And I was actually very, very fearful. Very fearful. And twice it very nearly came true. Like, we
So,
weren't even coming away with a point.
well, it almost could have been worse than that, but for 2 fantastic saves with the scores locked at 2-2 from Lucas Fabianski, both from Rodrigo. One from essentially it was a one-on-one.
Yeah.
And he fired it in. I think probably what helped Fab there was it was in his general direction, but he still had to get his hand up quick, make the contact with the ball that was travelling at pace to put it over the bar. They also had a corner, which Antonio did his job on the far stick, and then they put the rebound over the bar. So you're thinking we're living a charmed life here. And then I think it was in injury time, Fabianski produces a save. Do you remember that save from David Seaman, Paul Pesce-Solido in the FA Cup semi-final at Old Trafford, where it's sort of like the ball was sort of like almost behind him, and he sort of like he claws it out and sort of similar to that.
Dives backwards
not exactly,
hand,
but
doesn't he? Yeah.
The free kick was played in. Header, I can't remember who got the initial header towards Rodrigo. Rodrigo then gets his head on it, and Fabianski just bang manages to get it away. I mean, if it hadn't have been for Fab in those last sort of 20 minutes or so,
mate,
we lose that game.
I've got all the time in the world.
Very tempting, Pete. Very tempting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there were several occasions, Rob, where I'll be honest, and Paul in the chat will corroborate. I was talking about Declan Rice, and there were at least 4 occasions, definitely 3, I think 4, at least 4, where his passes were shit. His passes were dog awful. compared to what we're used to, right?
Yeah,
Four
we've
of
been
them
spoiled.
completely mislaid. I think one of them led to the goal, which was the second goal. And I actually sat there and went, right, you can fuck off. His head's. I was listening to.
Bit harsh.
Is it Nick from Claret and Booze?
Yes. Nick
I was
Killington.
listening to him
And if
this
you
morning.
haven't, guys, go over and give him a sub.
Was listening to him this morning. They were talking about they were doing. This was their pre-match for the game last night.
Mm-hmm.
And they were also talking about the Steinberg
The
article that
Guardian.
came out. Okay,
Yeah.
so I tend to go down in the mornings. I don't tend to watch Us
Do
Back
you?
because I can't stand the. Oh, she lets me. I can't stand the sound of my voice on here. So I don't go back and I don't listen to Us, Rob. I don't watch our
Me
videos.
neither.
Once they're done, fuck off. I can't
Yep.
listen to me. I don't know how these people in the chat, 26 of them for 45 minutes, have listened to me prattle on. I can't. I hate the sound of my own voice when it's played back. Shut up, all of you. Now, I listened to obviously Gonzo's 8:30 video this morning, headset in, doing the hoovering and stuff. And then the Nick of Claret and Booze came on, and not that we sell. And everyone has an opinion. Let's not argue, children, please. Some people may like him. I get what you're saying, and name calling isn't the one. But
let's not.
We don't have to. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree with some of the stuff that I can't remember who was on the video with him.
Hi, Steve.
And I do forgive me if I'm a bit wrong with a name last. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who the guy was that was on with him, but they were talking about Declan Rice and the captaincy. They were talking about other bits and pieces, and I mean, I was discussing with the boys last night. I would let him go in January. I know that would be. No, listen, that would be because I think his head's turned. It could be disastrous because we are in a relegation fight. But I'm at a point where we can. Okay, I'm prepared for the flack that I'm about to take from this.
Oh,
and
tin
that's
hat on.
fine. No. Listen, I took a hell of a lot more when it comes to Declan, when it comes to Saïd Benrahma, so I'm ready for this. Okay,
Listen, James might be in.
that's all right. I'd sell him.
Ooh,
I'd actually be on the phone. I'd actually be on the phone if I was at West Ham right now. I would have spoken to Declan and said, "Look, if we can get you a move to Manchester City in January, would you go? Would it be something that'd interest you?" I'd be on the phone to Manchester City, and I'd turn around and I'd say, "Just City. I wouldn't go to anyone else because there's a method to my madness. So bear with me."
Okay.
No, I'm outside the biggest police station in Europe, so forgive me. I'd actually say to him, give us 70, 80 million pound and give us Phillips. Bear with me, people. Bear with me. There's a place that this is going.
Calvin Phillips.
Yes.
The guy that's barely kicked a ball this season.
Bear with.
Wow.
I'd ask for Calvin Phillips. Now, the reason I asked for Calvin
Jack
Phillips
Wilshere
is,
while we're at it.
Right? No. You'd have Downs, you'd have the players, right?
Yeah.
But then the 70 to 80 million pound you've got can be reinvested on the left and a right back. I think our chances of staying up, selling Declan Rice and having a left and a right back would be greater if we continue trying to play Tilo Kehrer at left back or trying to play Aaron Cresswell, whose legs have gone. I'm sorry, but it's just part and parcel of
Do you know what I don't
age
understand?
in this game. Listen, this should have been done a long time ago. This should have been done 2 years ago.
I don't understand
Um,
why Ben Johnson wasn't playing left back.
yeah, I get
And
that.
that's not me
I
being
want to
wise
touch
after the
on
event.
I want to touch on this one. Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one, and some of them do stink. Kent, they do. Listen, at the end of the day, I personally just think that I feel that we could do better. Yeah, no, listen again. I understand his injury record. I get it. I get why people are going, huh? Really? But I just think that for me, replacing a left and a right back with some decent money that should have been done already. I'd like to put that one out there. That yeah, you have Steve agreed. That I feel that we've got a better chance of staying up with decent fullbacks and no Rice than with Rice and what we've got. That's me. That being said, Declan Rice pulled out possibly the pass of the match with that cushioned volleyed pass out to Ben Rama out on the left. It was I literally sat there and went, I've been slagging him off all night, and he goes and does that, bastard, right? It was a brilliant pass. I do agree, Steve. You have, and then Ben Rama, right? Can you guys tell me, was Ben Rama shooting or was that a cross?
Only he knows.
I actually think he went for goal and got
You
it
think so?
all wrong. Yeah, I think
What,
he
the
got
one
it all wrong.
that Antonio sort of like tried to get
Antonio
on the end of?
done his best impression of Gaza at the back post on the other side. I'd like to clear up, but I'll tell you now, watching it back, he was nowhere as near as what we all thought he was when it
No,
initially.
he was miles off, wasn't he?
He was about 2 foot. It was a great attempt, but he was about 2 foot away. And even
His
I
shooting was about as good as the person that replaced him in the starting lineup, Fornals.
Nah, he was miles away. I'll tell you what, he could have paid an £8 cab fare and probably still not got there. That's how far away he was.
So was it a point gained or was it 2 points dropped, in your opinion?
That's what I was about to say to you. Are we happy with a point, or should we be dismayed it wasn't 3? I think out of the 2 clubs, we should be more grateful for the point, considering A, where we've come from off of the back of this, B, how we spent the last 20 minutes. It should have been that's a fair comment. No, fair play, Ken. Listen. I welcome adult conversation when it comes to this shit. It's nice. I personally think we got to be grateful for the point we got. Like I say, considering where we're coming out of and how we spent the last 10 minutes. But I can't help but feel that if we hadn't have made the substitutions and taking our 4 best players on the night, in my opinion, all right, one of them couldn't be helped in
One of them was because of injury. We got to say that.
Can't put that on him, but that were our 4 best players, Rob.
Which kind of comes back to anyone that wants to turn around and say that, and I think it's a valid criticism, to be fair. I'm not disagreeing with it for 1 minute, that David Moyes is a fairly safety first orientated manager. And that's me being very polite about describing him. Taking off Fornals, who I thought was absolutely brilliant.
Man of the match,
shooting, he was all over the place, just high energy, exactly what we've come to expect of him, really. And we've missed him, to be fair, in the starting lineup. I know it's harsh on Benny because I think he's been one of our better players this season. But
without a doubt, completely
did Fornals come in and make a difference in a positive fashion? 100%. So it's one of those. And Scamacca and Paqueta both got their goals. I thought Paqueta is starting to look like he's getting the hang of the Premier League.
Yeah.
Don't know what you think.
It was his best game, Rob. It was
Mhm.
his best game in a West Ham shirt for me. But again, I think playing in a kind of compact midfield three
Mm.
rather than deep with Declan Rice or high up the pitch. No, listen, you're right. We criticise Moyes when he doesn't make subs, when he doesn't get moaned at. Make the right ones,
But
Steve.
I was going to say, I don't think they were
Make
the right subs.
the right
I'm all for making
ones.
subs with a purpose behind it. I think they were subs for making subs' sake, in my
Yeah, I
opinion.
do.
They certainly
I
didn't
mean,
work.
I would have loved to have seen Antonio come on for maybe Souček and just giving us a second one up there to rather than sitting back. We could have won that. We could have got a third. We could have gone forward and got a third. Let's not mess around. We'd already got two. Yeah, Pete, you're right. Could have, would have, should have. But listen. At the end of the day, essentially, he lives to fight another day, or
He does.
6, or 3 or 4 months. Um,
I agree
do
with
I
that,
think
John.
it's right? No. Do I think that this just really? It doesn't even paper over the cracks. It kind of just puts a bit of soggy papier mâché in the cracks and hopes that in the hope that it holds together. We go into Brentford in a week. No, in 2 days. Sorry. Yeah. We go into Brentford, and for me, I'd throw it away. I'd throw it away. We've got to
Really?
concentrate on the league. I would.
They're not
But that's
mutually
me.
exclusive, though, Duke. That's the thing. Just because
No, I
if we
know. I know
sack
you.
off
I know
the
you're
FA
right.
Cup,
But the FA Cup can give us injuries. The FA Cup can give us, listen, we got
the
the
FA Cup could
Conference
give
League.
us confidence.
But the FA Cup, we got the Conference League. That'll give me confidence.
Okay,
Player ratings.
let's do it. Okay, right. So, first I'd like you to pass the rule over is the goalkeeper, who, as we said, made 2 fantastic stops with the scores locked at 2-2. How did you rate him? And you guys in the live chat get involved with this.
I'll tell you what. I'm actually going to give him a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go 7. I can't.
Evening,
I
Richie.
can't go more than a 7
Okay.
because there really wasn't much else going on. But I also can't go and give him an 8 because of the saves. The saves are part of the 7.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to go. Yeah, I'm actually going to go the 7. Yeah, that's fair. Ken, take it easy, buddy. Thank you. Just jumping
Fair.
out because I've seen everyone else say bye, Ken.
Cheers, mate. Right. Okay. So you've given a 7 to Fabianski.
Yep.
Just having a little look through the comments to see if anybody else has been a Fabianski fan.
Oh, and Peter's going. See you later, Peter. Thank you.
See you, Pete. Take care, mate. Just having a look. Oh, yeah. See you later, Kent. Yeah, another one that made the journey. A bit like Charlie, who was on earlier. Oh, unbelievable support. Unbelievable support these boys give the team. It's incredible. But right. Okay. So Steve has given Fabianski a 6. Joan has given Fab same score as you, a 7. Ed has gone in with a 6. John's gone in with a 7. So and Paul, he's gone an 8. So you're all sort of like a fairly similar sort of realm, 6, 7, 8. That sort of thing. Personally, I think I would probably give him an 8 simply because of the 2 saves at 2-2 at such a match. He doesn't make both of those saves, and we lose that game. I'm absolutely convinced of that. I don't see us coming back with 20 minutes left. I think the first save was probably with 15 minutes left, actually, thereabouts.
Hammer.
And the second save, if he doesn't make that save, I think that was in 90 plus 5 minutes.
90,
We're dead.
minute,
We're dead. That is a point saving save. But obviously, we could have the discussion about is a point enough, and that's fair enough. But as far as Fab's concerned, he's done his job there.
Yep.
So I would probably give him an 8 myself. But there you go. Right, let's talk about the right back, Vladimir Kufal. And again, you guys, audience participation is required. What did you think? I mean, obviously he went off injured, but hopefully he'll be back soon. But what did you make of Vladimir Kufal? Did he look a bit more like the Kufal of a season or two ago?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Best game for a long time for Vlad. I'm actually gonna bump it. I was gonna go 7. I'm actually gonna bump it to an 8. He gave us all out there, and he took an absolute beating with that tackle.
Yes.
Actually got up and showed on Rob. Like, he got up and it was a case of, yeah, fuck it, I'm injured, but I'm going to try and keep going because I ain't having this.
Almost scored as well.
Yeah, oh, mate, that was a miss hit. It was a cross. Can't fucking get that.
I think he meant it.
He can't even get that close when he's 1-on-1, Rob. There was no way that was a shot. I
you
think
don't
he was
think
trying
so?
to pass. No, I think it was a pass back to Fabianski. To be honest with you, just got it all wrong.
No, not that. I'm on
Well, I
about
know
the
the one that you're on about. That's what I mean. I'm taking the piss. I actually think it was a pass back, and he sliced it behind him. I'm actually going to give him an 8. I actually like the burning desire to actually want to do something last night. He actually put in a shift. He took a real bad knock. It was a horrible, horrible tackle. It was late. It was nasty. He was savvy. Dark arts.
Yep.
Had a bit of Tommy Repka about him, Robbie. Had a bit of that Eastern Bloc kind of nonsense, no nonsense kind of, and I like that. So, I'm going to give him an 8.
I'm going to concur with that assessment. I think, yeah, I'll give him an 8. I'll give him an 8. I don't think he can really be criticised for getting injured. That's on the other player, but I thought he had as I think someone mentioned it in here. I mean, John's giving him an 8. Steve's giving him a 7. Miss Hammerette has given an 8. Ed says he's a 7. And yeah, there it is. John says 8 for attitude. I thought he displayed a real gritty, determined demeanour about him, and it's good to see. Hopefully that will spread amongst the team. That sort of bullishness. I think we need a bit more of it from certain players, and we're going to cover someone who I think you might go 2-footed on in that regard, perhaps. Jones says 8. Sharky says 7, and Sharky says nearly goal of the season. And Paul comes in. Have a look at this. He's gone 9. 9.
Hey,
best
listen,
game in
I
ages.
get it. I get it. I get the reasons for it, because I mean, he says there it's a 9. It's his best game in ages. I think that's part of the reason you've given a 9 there, Paul, is because he's been so poor that game stands out. Do you know what I mean? Any other time, that's just above an average game. That's a 7 or an 8. But because it is his best game in a while, you kind of go, whoa, stand out. I get it. But no, he was good last night, but I'm going to give him it's definitely an 8 from me.
Fair. The guy on the other flank, however, Tito Kehrer, German international. We bought him from PSG, Duke. Is he a left back? Probably not, in fairness. What do you think? What did you think?
It's caught out of position for the first goal. It's not faced up. He switched off. Part of the reason the throw was being allowed to be taken so quickly. What I'd actually like to see from our left and our right backs when we're given free kicks kind of halfway inside our own half and deeper, is just to go stand on the toes, or at least the wingers go stand on the toes of the guy taking the throw. Get yourself up and close. Give your teammates a chance to face up. Give your teammates a chance to get into the positions. Give your teammates a chance to watch the runners. Referee ain't going to book you for standing there on a throw on. He's not. He might tell you to get the fuck out of the way, but by that point, you've done your job. by not switching on and not facing up, you're causing yourself problems. He actually had his back to one of the throw-ins when they were taken for the goal.
Mm.
Not the only time he had his back to the thrower as it was being taken, because he was just too busy trying to jog back into position. Face up, run backwards. We're taught that. We're taught
That's
that at
basic,
grassroots
isn't it?
level. Face up. That being said, he wasn't the only one at fault for the two goals. There were a couple of other players, and I'll give them their ratings in a bit. I'm actually going to give him a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think because, listen, it's not his fault he was played at left back, but he's a
No.
professional footballer that should still be able to do a job. He was superb when he first came over in a way that for probably 3 games he was brilliant in the same way that
But even then, he gave sort of like silly
yeah,
balls
but in the
away.
same way that Soufal was for 6 months when he came in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We kind of banged on about how Kehrer could be. Soufal came in for so cheap. Kehrer could be the bit like Dawson. He's going to come in and be like that money signing. It looks a bit like Anton in that picture as well. There's a little bit of an Anton look about him. Yeah, I'm gonna give him a 5, Rob. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, it was compared to the other players and the other ratings that people are going to get. I agree with True Cockney. He's actually lucky to get the 5 from me. It could have been a 4. I'm going to give him the 5 just because for the first 70 minutes of the game, 75 minutes of the game, it's not his fault he was played out of position. But
No.
like I say, on the flip side, a professional footballer should be able to do a job
Agreed.
on the opposite flank. I don't mean asking Fabianski to go up front and be able to do a job, but a left back and a right back, the role is the same. You just kick with
It
the
is, but I don't think he covered himself in glory at right back. So
No, he didn't. But that's what I mean. He should still be able to do a flanking, a left and a right winger is the same sort of job, and a left and a right back is the same sort of job. It's just the opposite flank with the opposite
yeah,
foot.
the angles all change.
So
But
I think he should be able to, but I'll give him a 5.
I'm going to go 4. I think he was our glaring weak link, and as the old saying goes, the chain is only as strong as the weakest link, and he was it. He was it.
Yeah.
Steve's given him a 4, but he also asked the question, why was he played at left back? Personally, I'd have gone Johnson. I know you Cresswell made an error in the game against Brentford. I was actually surprised he got dropped because obviously Fabianski made an error in the Arsenal game and he retained his place. So
Yeah.
I kind of thought, and I said this in the preview, I kind of thought, well, if he's done it with Fab, then he's kind of, has he kind of got to do that with Cress? He obviously didn't. Maybe he was thinking, I'm going to play Cress in the game on Saturday. I don't know. So maybe he thought I'm resting him.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand why you were playing Tilo Kehrer left back. It was a bit of an odd one to me. In actual fact, when the teams were first announced on the One Football app, they actually had Naya Fagerd at left back and Tilo Kehrer as the left centre back. But then obviously when the game kicked off, you very quickly discovered that they were
That wasn't the case.
Around. But
yeah,
John says 5 and disappointing. 3 from Joan. Kate's gone with a 5. Ed says 4. And True Cockney says 5. And he was awfully lucky to get that. Paul,
yeah, that's why I'm in agreement with him.
Look at this. Paul's gone with a 2. He says, ricking him, an accident waiting to happen every game. Underwhelming so far. And Sharky's gone with a 5. And John's asking the question, is he King Arthur in disguise? And Steve comes in with the little piece of information that he believes he's coming back. He also goes in to say that he was there for his passing and delivery, neither of which was terribly good either.
Nope.
So there you go. I think we're all in agreement. He didn't cover himself in glory there.
But
talk to me about Craig Dawson, Duke.
Listen, if Kehrer got a 2 off of Paul, I dread to think what Paul's giving here. Because for me, Dawson gets a 3. He's at fault for both goals. He was stepping far too high for both goals. He's misread the situation. It's not He again not covered himself in glory. I know people are saying he's going in January. Well,
Mm,
he might not be going in January. If the fact that we can't get any defenders
mm,
or centre backs, he's going to have to stay. But he's another one that looks like he's already gone, Rob, as well. You know, a bit like at certain points, another player I'm going to come to shortly. But I'm going to give him a 3. He's been a fantastic servant. I think I'll always remember him for the time he kicked, Adams in the head. I've got all the time in the world for that. But sadly, last night wasn't the best game that I've seen this man play. And last night, he looked like the 2.5 million that we paid for him.
mm. I listen. I'm not going to for 1 minute sit here and say that it was one of Craig Dawson's best performances in claret and blue, or indeed in his career. But I think he was better than Kehrer, in all honesty. I know. Look, yeah,
Close.
okay. The goals you could analyse and say, could he have done this? Could he have done that? The one thing I'll never ever fault Craig Dawson for is his attitude on the
No,
pitch. Do you know
fair.
what I mean? And I think if I'm going to say that and this is my opinion, I think that Thilo Kehrer is the worst. As I said, he was the weak link, and the chain is only as strong as the weakest link. I don't think Craig Dawson was the weakest link last night.
No,
He wasn't
I do.
brilliant. He wasn't brilliant, but I'm going to give him a 5. I'm going to give him a 5.
Fair.
Steve says that he was a 3. He's kind of coming at it from where you're coming at it,
Yeah.
making the point that he was at fault for both the goals. Yeah. And Dawn says, Dawn, where'd that come from? Joan. Dawn, someone completely different. Dawson was at fault for both, and she's given him a 3, and she says she loves him. He loves you too, Joan. Don't worry about it. John says a 5, hard fault. Miss Hammerette says 4. Ed says 4. Sharky's gone 4. So it's there or thereabouts, isn't it? Not his best outing in claret and blue.
Yeah,
Paul
you
has
can
come
see.
in. He says 2. All over the place. He's been a revelation, but no hiding place last night. Came up short. Fair assessment. I think the assessment is fair. I think the marking might be a little bit meager, but there you go, Paul. We'll agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah.
Now, Naif Agar, or Nathan Agard, as Mr. Moyes insists on calling him. Oh, and True Cockney's coming. Sorry, before we go on to Nathan, True Cockney says that Dawson was a 5. So, anyway.
I actually thought we had a good game. A few recovery tackles, showed the quality that we spent, the best part of 35 million on.
Wasn't as much as that, was he? I think he was about 28, wasn't he?
I think it turns out to be 35 if everyone wants to smash the Vlasic stick with that sort of money. Then I'm going to do the same with this one. I thought we had a banger. I really do. I actually thought he shored up. He shored up a very dodgy left-hand side with Kehrer being there. I think you can't, not going to peg any blame on him for the goal. I'm not going to peg any blame either way for him. I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay. I'm probably going to give him away from home. I think it was yesterday his first start. Correct me if I'm wrong, in the Premier League.
In the Prem, yes.
Right. Okay. Premier League full debut, away at Leeds, hostile atmosphere, pressure cooker environment. I'm going to give him an 8.
Fair.
I thought he was excellent. I thought and as you say, he had the weak link on his outside, and he had plenty of work to do. It has to be said, but he did it diligently. He did it to a good standard, and if we can keep him fit, and if we can get Zuma back as quickly as possible and keep the pair of them fit, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, given where we've been in the last 2 years and our expectations after the summer transfer window. But I think that partnership will be absolutely key to us getting a few clean sheets, at least grinding out the odd point here or there, possibly all three. If we can get those two fit as soon as possible and keep them fit for the remainder of the season. But if, small word, big meaning, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so as far as Nathan's concerned, we've got Miss Hammerette has given him a 6. Oh, little bit harsh. I thought he might be worth a bit more than that, but each to their own. Right, Sharky's gone with a 6 for Nathan. John says 7. Done good for his first game. Agreed. Steve's gone 9. Look at that. Extra point for the covering tackle in the box from Kara's mistake. Yes. Ed's gone with a 7. Jones also gone with a 7. True Cockney's gone with 8 and says he looks like the best of all the new signings. If he can stay fit, that's the thing. If he can stay fit, I would concur with that. I mean, yeah, we'll cover a couple more of the new signings, but as we go along. But yeah, it's a fair statement. Sharky says good to see him playing, and Paul has come in and said, hang on, he gives him a 7. Says he acquitted himself well, given our defensive shortcomings and his return from long-term injury. I think he's going to be fab for us. Fingers crossed. Right, so now we're moving into midfield, and we're going to go on to the person that was at the base of the midfield 3, and that was our captain, Mr. Declan Rice. So what say you, Duke? Deep intake of breath.
7.
Okay. I thought you were going to be a bit more critical.
No. There were several passes for me that were wayward. As I say, I think one of them resulted in the goal because of the throw. He did something that I've not seen us do. When we got a penalty, he kind of shuffled everyone out of the box.
Yep.
He got the players away from Paqueta. He kind of took charge of a situation. Soufal was in there to get, I think it was Ayling.
Gnonto was on the penalty spot, wasn't he? And he basically told him
who was?
Gnonto.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was Gnonto, and it was, I think it was Ayling as well. Started making a beeline. And Soufal was like, get fucked. Get away off your trot. Rice was back in there. He kind of took charge. He took a bit of the pressure off of Paqueta.
Did a leader's role.
Yeah, it was, and it was good. I've just had a big cheer from downstairs. So someone scored. I would like to have seen a little bit more from him in regards to his passing. We know what he's capable of. A little bit more leadership. We know who he learned from. Again, the boys over at Claret and Booze, Nick and that, they were talking about, was it Nick? He's Nick, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Talking
Nick's
about
one with the glasses.
Yeah, he might be a bit too young. He might not be a natural leader. Again, these things should have really been thought about before we gave him. Mahrez 1-0. Yeah, these things should have been thought about. Sometimes, he's never going to be in a pressure cooker of a relegation battle again in his life. Let's not fuck about. This boy's going to go on, and he's not going to play for a team that are ever going to get relegated unless it's relegation out of fucking Champions League into Conference League. Not Conference League, Europa League. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from him. I think John's just come now. I'm not going to give his. He thinks he's been harshly treated.
We expected so much from him, didn't we?
I think that's it, because of the sort of player he is, because of the sort of the expectations we have, Rob. Not just with us, but where we expect him to go. Um, but again, last night there was those misplaced passes, and he does come back with an absolute banger down the wing, Benny. Um, no, I'm going to stick with a 7. I am going to stick with a 7.
7. I'm going to concur with you. I think that it was a good performance from Deck. I thought there were times when he did show leadership, and that penalty was one of
Yep.
the instances I'm gonna sort of like point at for evidence of this. And I'm going to mention something here, and I don't know whether the person concerned will necessarily want me to sort of reference them. So, because I haven't run this by them, I'm going to keep it quiet. But there was someone that I was in contact with that went yesterday, and they made the observation that after the final whistle, there was only one person that came over to the West Ham fans that had made that not short journey from East London to North Yorkshire and actually acknowledge the fans and give them a sort of like a clap. And that individual was Declan Rice. Nobody else bothered.
No, and again, we come back to, he's learned that. That's one of the things he's learned from Nobes, from before. You always go say thank you. I do believe he needs to be a bit more, shall we say, forceful in the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he is club captain. So the rest of you bastards, get your asses over to that end of the ground
Yep.
where you're going. You ain't get over here now. We're going over as one, to show that we are as one. So yeah, I mean, again, he's learnt it from Nose, but there are more things he should have really picked up in that time. But again, it comes down to whether or not Robbie's a natural leader. You can't. You either you. It's not something you don't learn that. You know
Mm.
what I mean? You don't learn being a natural leader. That again, that's something that comes naturally. No, it's not. It's something that comes naturally. You
I
can
think you
learn.
can to a degree. You can
You can
improve.
learn. You can
I think
learn
you
to
can
be a
improve.
leader. You can learn to be a leader, but a
Mm.
natural leader, that's something completely different. You have to learn something. He's got to learn those things, i.e., standing up and get the players over like Nobes did.
Yeah.
He's got to earn the respect of the players around him, which I think might be another issue, Rob, because Nobes had that respect. So if Nobes went, "We're going," you went.
Yep.
I don't know whether Declan Rice has got that from the players. The fact that, again,
Do
it
you
comes
wonder if
down to
because everybody knows that he's off in the summer, let's in all likelihood that might
not the
be a
fact that he's
reason?
just off though, Rob. It's the I had a thing with Kate, Miss Hammerette in the chat.
Oh, you had a
Um,
thing with Kate, did you?
no, that's not what I meant. Stop taking it and twisting my words, you
That's what you
awful young
said.
man. I said about the fact that he's demanded the role that he now has. And
Mm.
she said, "Show me where he's demanded it," and I couldn't. We're only going by kind of what we're being
Here.
told
Yeah.
in reports and everything else. So,
Mm.
I do apologise kind of for that. But if he has gone in and he has said, as per newspaper reports,
Mm.
I want to do this role. Well,
That's
the
not what I was
players,
told, Sharky. That's not what I was told. What I was told was that one player came over to the fans, and I wasn't there. I'm going by what someone has told
yeah.
me that was there. That apparently there was basically one player that came over and gave the fans a clap, and that was Declan Rice.
Now, if the players are standing in the centre circle and clapping and acknowledging from there.
Mm-hmm.
I get that that might be what Sharky's getting at, that they have from the halfway line or
No,
in the
I'm
centre
talking
circle.
gone
But
over and
yeah, no, but that's what they should be doing. You guys have made the effort to travel all the way up to Yorkshire on a cold and blustery Wednesday night. The least you can do is walk 50 yards from a fucking centre circle to go say thank you. You know what I mean?
hmm.
So no, that's where I'm at. I actually have got a lot of time for Deck for that kind of
Here we go. I tell you what, and as I say, I haven't run this by the individual, so they might not want me to sort of tell, you know, broadcast their name, but I'm just picking through. Oh, right, okay. However, here we go. Although clapping as they walked off, not one other than
There you
Deck
go.
would be asked to deviate from their normal stride pattern towards the tunnel to acknowledge the away section. Quotes unquote.
There it is then. So you're both right, for want of a better word. But that again,
But
that
there's a
is
world of
poor.
difference between just sort of like going down the tunnel
Yeah,
and doing that, and actually going over to where
and
the
that's what I
fans are
mean.
sat and giving them a. And apparently, the only one that did that was Deck.
Well,
So
that's what I'm
I know
getting at,
he's
Rob.
come in for a lot of criticism. That's why I'm sort of mentioning it, because he has come in for a lot of criticism, and some of it he's brought on himself, to be fair.
But
But
that's
I
what
do think that
again. That's
it
what
needs
I'm
to be
getting at.
noted that he's the only one that actually did that.
But again, that's what I'm getting at, Rob. You know, they have clapped, and the fact that the fans have travelled as far as they did, for as long as they did, to get there, the players could have at least acknowledged that. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? So
absolutely. So anyway, so Sharky's given him a 7. Steve says he gets a 6. Joan says 7. Ed says 6. Kate says 6. True Cockney says 7. Just picking my way through. Oh, John's come in. He's giving him an 8. Says he thinks he's been a bit harshly treated. The more I look at it, the better I think he played. Fair point. Fair point. And Paul's come in and says he's given him a 7. Showed his obvious quality in phases, but is costing us with his attacking midfielder vanity project.
there it
Still
is.
developing as a captain. I didn't see him. I honestly don't think he was playing as an attacking midfielder yesterday. I think he was
No,
the anchor.
I'll tell you what, Rob. There were two occasions, and again, I spoke about them with the guys that were there, and Paul was one. He had 3 shots that he absolutely blazed like a mofo, like Rose Ed. I'm not saying Souček would have done any differently, but why is my holding midfielder 7 yards outside of the box as the ball runs loose to him? That's where I'd want Paqueta. That's where I want Fornals. I don't want my CDM being the one breaking onto a ball that's rolling out of the box. He should be.
Yeah, but just because you're a CDM doesn't mean to say you
No,
can't,
no.
on occasion,
No.
venture up
Again,
pitch.
but I'd rather have Paqueta there. I'd rather have
Mm.
Lanzini, Fornals. Listen, there's a reason they're attacking midfielders, Rob. Yeah, they have good shooting ability. I'm not saying Declan Rice doesn't, but well, I am, because the 4 he had yesterday went blazing over the crossbar. So
Yeah,
that's who I
I'd
want
agree
there.
with you in that. Yeah. But okay, so we move on. So talk to me about Thomas Souček, who came back into the starting lineup. As I mentioned earlier, in my humble opinion, I thought he was getting forward noticeably, in my view, considerably more than he has done in recent times. But did you view it another way, perhaps?
No. Thomas Souček's best game in a West Ham shirt for about 5 months. Outstanding. Absolutely brilliant yesterday. Worked his socks off. There was a few challenges in there. He was over there defending his boy at one point. He got forward. We didn't have to rely on him to pass a lot yesterday, Rob, which was kind of beneficial for us. He did make some. He won some bloody good headers in there as well.
8 aerial duels won.
Yeah, I remember the commentator turning around and saying another header won by Souček. He was good last night. I'm actually going to give him a 7. May I just read this, Rob?
Of course.
Last
Don't have
night
to ask for permission.
with 6.89 passes per defensive area, if I'm reading that right.
Okay.
So 6.89 passes per defensive area. So, i.e., if I may just jump into the brand and go, whoop.
You love that one, don't you?
The blue, I think that the blue boxes, the 1 grey and the 2 red that make up the final third. or maybe even our half. 6.89 passes per defensive area. West Ham actually produced their most intense pressing performance
Defensive
since
area or defensive action, do you mean?
the defensive action. Sorry,
Okay.
West Ham produced their most intensive pressing performance since the 4-1 win over Villa in October 2021, which would have been Jesse Lingard's debut, if my memory serves.
Okay.
So defensive lapses there of what's cost us the game. The fact that, listen,
Yeah.
I was the one asking for a better press, Rob. I got that last night. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that we've conceded 2 goals, despite the fact that that's our best pressing performance, still says that there's a lot of work to still be done, but it's a good start.
For me, I think your starting point is at left back, and personally, I would bring in Ben Johnson, even
Yeah, yeah.
if Cresswell is perfectly
I
fine.
bring in Johnson and Ashby, Rob.
Yeah, but we know Ashby's not going to happen. I do wonder whether the sort of like the fact that
Oh,
Johnson's
there it
been
is.
kind
There
of
it is. I'll give you that.
no, I know, but what I'm
Don't worry about
saying
the
is that
personnel, but that's the formation I think would benefit us. That's the formation I think would benefit us. You can drop Paqueta.
that's essentially what we played yesterday.
No, not quite. Not quite. Because Bowen and Fornals were wider, which didn't offer Scamacca that kind of support in and around because they're
I did
still.
say essentially.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but they were still too far away from our centre forward to offer him any kind of support or what's the word I'm looking for? An out ball. They,
Yeah.
they weren't close enough to give him an out ball, an
Yeah.
option. So yeah, no, Souček for me. Souček's actually I'm gonna give him a 7. I'm actually gonna put him on par with Deck. I actually thought we had a really good game. He looked like his old self. He looks solid. He looks happy. If you actually look at him yesterday, he actually was playing with a smile on his face at points, which I haven't seen for quite a while.
And you know what? I actually think that the fact that he finally did get dropped might actually be that kick up the arse, if you will, that he needed.
Yep.
I think it could, being dropped or rested, whatever you want to call it,
Was he dropped
can
or was it
actually.
just a formation change though, Rob? Because
No,
there's
I think he was dropped because obviously what he did in the game against Arsenal with 8 completed passes in 78 minutes, 42% pass accuracy. I don't think that there was any way that even David Moyes could turn around and say, "Yeah, that's fine. You've earned a space against Brentford." I don't think you could. I really
yeah,
don't. And I think even Thomas Souček would acknowledge that. But I think that, like I say, taking him out, having that time on the bench where maybe he's got a little bit of time to reflect on his performances. And as I say, also I think he's been helped by the change in formation that we put out yesterday. And I want to see that again. I want to see that 4-3-3 implemented again. But whether
yeah.
we will against Brentford or whether we will in the league games to come, I hope so. But you never know with David Moyes. But anyway, Steve's giving him a 7.
Good night, Kate.
Night, Kate. Take care. She's obviously given him a 7 as well. Joan's
Yeah.
gone in with an 8. John says 7. Thought he had a really good game. He looks like Bambi on vodka, which doesn't help him. How many shots did we have at goal? Well, it's funny you should ask that because I think, if I remember correctly, we had, let me just double check before I open my mouth and someone says, no, we didn't. You're wrong. We had 15 shots,
I was going to
2
say it
on
was mid
target.
double figures, yeah.
Yeah, it was 15 shots, but 2 on target, and they were obviously both the goals, one of which was a
Yeah,
penalty.
and that annoys
Offensively,
me, Rob. That
do you
annoys
like
me.
it? Oh, cheers, Sharky. My fools and horses
That's like
show.
that's something like, is that like 8%?
What? Going from
Shot
15 to
shots
2?
on target. Shots on target.
About,
All right, it's a conversion rate of 100%, but that's still
hmm,
not good enough as a percentage of only 2 shots on target
yeah.
out of 15. I'm sorry, that's dog shit for me. That is awful.
Fair.
And Fornals was to blame for 3 of them. Let's not piss around.
And Paul's gone in.
Steve, thank you, my man. Take care.
Take care, mate. Paul's gone in with a 7. Says he gave everything. Best showing this season. More like his old self. Moyes has not been playing correctly for ages. I agree with that. I
Yeah.
do think Souček was helped massively. A, by finally getting dropped, and B, by a change in formation. I think he benefited massively out of both of those things, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
And Ed has given him a 7 as well. So, yeah, no worries. So Kate's gone, and Sharky's saying good night. So is Steve's, and it's going back and forth. And True Cockney's come in and given Thomas Souček a 7. Says it's a good game. Hope it continues. Steve is off ski. And Sharky's coming back in before we move in. Says, I remember we had 20 shots against Brentford, 5 on target. Our shooting is poor, unfortunately. Yeah, that has been something of an Achilles heel for us this season. We've massively not been at it in the attacking
We
stakes.
do
It
let
has to be
ourselves
said.
down, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, right. So the next player I would like to talk about, if we may, and I don't believe this. I haven't got a graphic for him. I've missed out all the others. All right. Well, let's talk about Pablo Fornals.
Again, bar is shooting, Rob. I actually think he played quite well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of ground covered on. Oh, hello. A lot of ground covered on his part. A lot of effort put in. Some good link-up play. Some good. Some good ground battles. You know what I mean? He was really getting stuck in. Unfortunately, I've got to put a little bit of blame on him in the same way that I've done with Kera, due to the goals, because he was that side of the pitch, and he should have done better in dropping in to try and help defend on those corners, unfortunately, and he didn't. So there's got to be a penalised there. I'm actually going to give. He could have got an 8 out of me, but I'm going to penalise him a point for the 3 shots and his poor finishing. I'm actually then going to penalise him a half a point for not dropping back and defending. Obviously on the goals, he didn't drop in to help and face up and to, like I say, block the throw. I'm actually going to round him up and go back to a 7.
Okay. I as I say, I thought he was energetic. I thought he was buzzing around the pitch. He was a nuisance. His shooting, that was poor. I know that, but I mean, we know that his shooting's poor. But we still love him despite that fact. But yeah, I'm probably gonna give him. I'm gonna mark him the number on the back of his shirt. I'm gonna give him an 8. I thought he had a really good game. I really do. I think we've missed him, to be honest with you, Duke. So, but just having a look here, sort of waiting for. I've got one of you that's come in with a score. The rest of you haven't buggered off home yet. Have you? I know
They've
we've got
left it. They don't care anymore.
Oh,
They've had enough of our bullshit.
I don't really blame them, to be fair. I've had enough of our bullshit. But there you go. It is what it is. But so yeah, next cab off the rank. Oh, hang on, Sharky's come in with a mark. He's giving him a 7 as well. So yeah, fair enough. Anyway, next cab off of the rank. Talk to me about Jared Bowen on the other flank.
Hang on, you've missed one.
What's
I'm
that?
sure we haven't spoken about him.
I haven't done Scamacca yet.
No.
Oh, yeah, Lucas Paqueta. Yeah, I'm going to come to him in a minute. Let's take the best till last.
Bowen,
hang on. Paul's gone 4 now. He gets a 7. Can never doubt his energy and effort. More technically gifted than he's credited. Had his clogs on when shooting at goal, though.
Far too true. Bowen, I'll tell you what, some really good movement again. We're kind of seeing the old Bowen, the previous Bowen. He's kind of showing up again. Great movement, great energy. I think he's worked some with Scamacca, and I think the conversation's been had that Scamacca needs him a little bit closer to him.
Yep.
Which is benefiting both players, Rob. benefiting both players. Look at the penalty yesterday. It was between Scamacca and Bowen. There was a lot of interchange between Scamacca and Bowen
Yep.
yesterday before Bowen went off. I remember there was one or two where there was a 1-2 between Bowen and Scamacca. I think it was in the first half. It was a 1-2 between Scamacca and Bowen. Bowen in round. It was like a triangle. It was kind of a ball in, and then it was like around the corner from Scamacca on a 1-2 for Bowen to be able to go down the wing. But not only did Bowen go down the wing, Scamacca then got on his bike to try and get near post. Now, the pass actually went far post, unfortunately, cross went far post, and there was no one there. But the link-up play was there, something we've missed. But again, it comes from the high pressing, Rob, because we win the ball higher up the pitch.
Yep.
I'm actually going to give Bowen an 8. I'm actually going to agree with Joan. I actually thought we had a really, really good game. The link-up play, the winning of the penalty, is it a ball penalty? It's one of them ones where, you know what, if the player doesn't commit, it's just a basic bit of skill. He wins the ball and kind of takes it forward, tries to kind of go round the corner with it. But he has to do it and he has to get there first. And for me, yeah, I'm actually going to give him an 8. I actually thought we had a really, really good game, Jared Bowen.
I'm going to go 7. I think he was decent. I think he had one of his better games in a good while, to be fair. But I think the only thing that was probably missing was a goal or an assist. So I'm going to give him a 7. But I dare say you want to talk about this chap, do you?
Did you just make that?
No. The one that I've just made was Pablo Fornals. Paqueta was already done. For some reason, I missed out Pablo. I went, oh, bollocks.
This guy is best game in a West Ham shirt. I'm going to give him a very high 8.
Okay.
Can't give him an 8.5. You won't let me. Don't want to give him a 9. Actually, fuck it. He's going to get a 9 for the no-look penalty. Bollocks to the world. He gets a 9, but there were so many players that could have got man of the match on ours. Do you know what I mean? So, I'm going to give him a 9. Again, what was his pass percentage, Rob, please?
Oh, I've closed that.
Oh, you closed
down.
it. Don't worry about it.
No. If you carry on talking, I can find it. It's not a problem.
I actually felt that
I don't think it was that good from memory. I think it was actually about 70%, which
was
is
really.
Which is quite
I actually felt that he had more incisive passes. It felt like
70,
there were more.
Yeah, 70%.
Yeah, it felt like there were more incisive passes, more better balls to feet for Scamacca. Balls into Bowen as well. And they weren't just sideways passes. These are powerful passes into feet, giving the players a chance to control hold off the man and look for the next option, even if it means coming back to Paqueta and we gain 10 yards. Again, the fact that he had the confidence to step up and take the penalty, I wasn't sure whether it was going to be Bowen, to be honest with you, or whether Rice was going to pull rank. I really hoped it wasn't. But I actually thought that was his best game in a West Ham shirt. Some great link-up play again. I think it comes from playing a little bit deeper and the chance of and the fact that he can kind of play that link-up play between the back and the front. Long may it continue. Long may he prove some people wrong. And by that, I mean my brother and Neil, goalkeeper. I actually think he could be a beta, Rob. I actually think if we can continue this and he can continue to click, do you remember Payet? Do you remember that geezer called Dimitri Payet? I think
vaguely. Whatever happened to him?
He allegedly fucked a school teacher. I did say allegedly. I did. He showed her his big car. Bright yellow car.
That passed me by. To be honest, I'm struggling to remember who he was, but
yeah, I know the car. No, I actually think he could be our talisman if he can continue this. I actually think not only could he be our talisman, between him and Scamacca, they could be a very. I'll tell you what, they could be a better, more skillful version of Carroll and Nolan.
Like it. Well, let's have a little look and see what the crowd have given him. Ed has given him an 8. Joan's given an 8.5. Or can we let her do 0.5s?
Yeah, go on, we'll let her.
Oh, we'll let, because it's you, Joan. Only
Yeah, if anyone else knows.
don't tell the others. Don't tell the others, because otherwise they'll all want to do decimals. Paul's going in with an 8. Says he looks like he's now starting to adapt to the Premier League. Let's hope it continues. We need him a click. I mean, like I say, I agree that I think that the slight tweak in his position, again, same with Souček, I think it's helped. And I said it a few weeks ago. I said I think the answer to our problems is under our nose. It's 4-3-3. And we played it last night. And whilst we might not have got the win, I think it was an awful lot better than the previous 5 Premier League games, because we actually managed to get something out of it. And there were certain players that I thought looked, like they were getting back into the groove. John's giving him a 9. 9.
That's what I gave him.
And Sharky, we've got Paqueta. And we're getting love hearts and a thumbs up. Thanks, Joan. As I say, don't tell the others that I've let you get away with sort of decimal marking. Otherwise, like I say, they're all going to start piling in. We'll have sort of like 6.2486, whatever. Can't be having it. Can't be having it at all. Right. Okay. We got one last player from the starting lineup to discuss, and that was our Italian stallion, Gianluca Scamacca. Scored the goal that put us 2-1 up.
8.5. If I gave Scamacca Paqueta a 9, I'm actually going to give Scamacca an 8.5, or at least a low 9. Again, his link-up play. He looked interested yesterday, Rob, because he had players in and around him. Yep. And that's the difference for a man like Gianluca Scamacca. It's the same as Sebastian Haller. Get players in and around. Even if you put the ball into the box for Scamacca, I promise you he will win headers. But get players in and around him. He can play them 1-2s. I said to you earlier about the one with Bowen. And not only that, he was then on his bike to get into the box. I think you'll start to see it now. You saw a link-up play earlier in the season between him and Paqueta for the goal against Newcastle. Fulham, there was a lot of oohing and ahhing. Was he offside? Was it handball? But you look at the run and the movement from him and the vision from Paqueta for that pass. Last night, he showed that he was switched on. Last night, he showed I love this. I've got all the time in there. Where's my haters? Where's Moyes? I'm going to run up and do this. What you got, Dave? What you got? Right, I love it. And I know some people have dissed him for it, and I know people have said that Moyes wasn't happy with his celebration, and that he probably won't play against Brentford at the weekend. You know what? I don't care if he don't play against Brentford, as long as he plays against Wolves. And you know that's where I'm at now. He's a genuine threat, Rob. I felt yesterday that Leeds were very wary of the fact that he was there. He posed, he made a nuisance of himself, and I like that. I like that a lot from my striker. I like the fact that he's a big man. I'd be throwing my arms around if I was a bit like Carroll, but not so, stupidly. But I'd be throwing myself around. I'd be letting the interview we did with David Cross, Rob. Do you remember his words? Yep. I wanted to make sure that the defenders knew I was there. I wanted to go out and smash the goalkeeper, so he'd think twice about coming up against me again. So I see in Scamacca that kind of player that will put himself about. Rob, I like it. I give him a 9. I'm really hoping that we start to see a bit more of this boy now as he does. You know what I mean? What we got and how we got him.
Absolutely. Right. We'll just have a quick look into the the chat just to see what they've marked him. Jones come in. She hasn't gone decimal. She's just gone 8. Straight in. Bang. 8. Sharky's given him an 8 likewise. Ed's gone 7. Paul's come in. He said he's an 8. Genuine goal scorer, real threat. Just need to play him and Paqueta right. Moyes needs to wake up, can become a 20 goal a season man. If he gets half that in the Premier League in what remains of this season, that could be absolutely crucial. And as I say, I've been saying it for weeks. He needs to play 4-3-3. He finally did it yesterday. I think that this is possibly, if Moyes has paid attention, I think that this could be the way forwards, in my humble opinion. And we now come to the point when I speak of David Moyes, where you got to mark the man himself. Good, bad, indifferent. What we got?
Right. Well, listen. Again, I give him. So I'm gonna start my ratings, Rob, and grade it. Right. So I actually give him. I give him a 5 for.
I'm Andy.
No, let me rephrase that. I'll give him a 6. I'll give him a
Okay.
6. Give him a 6 for team selection, but bear with me because this is going to fluctuate.
Okay.
Going to give him a 6 for his team selection.
Right.
Okay, formation. He loses a point for that, for the fact that then we've got Kehrer at left back.
Does he gain a point for changing the formation to the formation that we've been saying for a little while?
That's the 6. The 6 is he's picked the formation that he's changed things about. It's not quite the formation I wanted. It's there or thereabouts, and it could still be better. So he gets a 6 off of that. He gets a 5 then because Kehrer starts at left back when you've got 2 fully capable left backs sitting on the bench. Right, you could even have a Gerd. A Gerd's left back as well. He can play left back, Rob. He is a centre back by trade, but he has played at left back for...
Same as Ogbonna. Same as Ogbonna. Ogbonna's played at left back.
Yep, Ogbonna. So you've
he
got...
could have played there as well.
You've got 4 capable left backs if you want, and you've decided to put a right-sided centre back, right back over there. Doesn't make sense to me. So 4. I then give him back to... a 5. I go back to 6... because he's pressing. Okay, we heard from my brother there, the picture that he sent me about the 6.89 passes per defensive action.
Yep.
Yeah, so it goes back because he's obviously told him to press a bit more. Okay, then we drop down to a 5 because of his substitutions. He's taken off your 3 of your 4 best players.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't very happy with the subs.
One of them he had to because it was Soufal at the time of the injury. One was a bit later that was Fornals, and the other 2 were obviously Paqueta and Scamacca. But then I'm actually going to drop him again, Rob, to a 4 because then he decided to fucking sit back off the back of those substitutions and invite the pressure. He stopped the high press. He stopped the 6.89 passes per defensive action, and we suffered from it. It took a clearance off the line from Mickey. It took two good saves from Fabianski to make sure we didn't end up losing that 3-2, 4-2, 5-2. He became too negative. So I'm actually going to give him a 4. Like I say, started off as a 6, 5 for Kehrer, 6 for the pressing, 5 for the substitutions, 4 because he sat back. He doesn't sit back, and it's frustrating for me. It's frustrating. Cases could be argued for 5, and I start higher with 7 because of the formational change. 6, 7, 6, 5. I tell you what, I'll do that. I'll actually go for a 5. I won't go as low as a 4. I'll go as a 5.
Fair. Okay. Anything else you want to discuss, old chap?
Yeah, I've got one little bit. Obviously, we lost David Gold yesterday.
Yep.
I'm not going to say a bad word about the man, and if anyone in the chat decides they want to play silly bollocks, they'll get a ban. he was actually a West Ham boy. You could see that he had a love and affection for the club, for everything he did with the fans. I know several people that have met him. He took time out of his day. If you watch Gonzo's video over at
Yep.
Hammer's Chat, you'll certainly see a David Gold in a massively different light. Obviously, with what Gonzo mentions about his personal life and stuff, absolutely outstanding from David Gold. Um, so now's not the time to talk about
No.
the board and everything else going. But for me, last thing I do want to talk about is just keep an eye on your transfers and some rumour mill that will start. I think it was going to be coming out today. I had a little chat with a guy that I know.
Is it who I think it is?
Yeah, it's who you think it is. He was in.
Okay.
He was in on Monday. Yeah, he was in
Okay.
on Monday. I wasn't in pub. He popped back in today for a couple of hours, and I spoke to him for a little bit. Just keep your eye out. The one name that we all know, I'm very dubious to this name that we know in Wan-Bissaka.
Yep.
I know people don't want him. Just watch this space on that one for the loan deal, possibly. Um, he was actually at the training ground on Tuesday morning, I
Hmm.
believe, and he got wind of a few bits and pieces. I'll mention the name Wan-Bissaka now. I'll leave the rest alone until we're off air.
Okay.
Pay attention this next 7 days, kids, because I reckon it could be some interesting bits.
Fair. Fair. And likewise, listen, I never had any conversations with Mr. David Gold, the late David Gold. Never met the guy, don't know him. Probably the closest I ever came to him, other than sitting in a stadium, was I worked around the Woldingham area quite a bit, which is where his mansion is, or what was his mansion. As far as Mr. Gold is concerned, I think he was a West Ham fan through and through. He was 86, I believe, when he passed, and he was co-chairman since January 2010 from memory. Now, for a guy that was co-chairman for best part of 12 years, he was never ever going to make choices and decisions that were universally popular. The obvious one being leaving the bowling ground, but he made the decision or was part of the decision making process. And I'm sure he thought it was for the best for West Ham United Football Club. Everybody will have an opinion about that. That's fine. But as far as the guy was concerned, he always came across to me as a very classy individual. He always came across as someone that always had the best interests of the club at heart. And yeah, I just, for what it's worth, I just want to extend my and Duke's sincerest condolences to the Gold family for their loss at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Just start of a new year. We've just had Christmas, New Year out the way, and there is a family that has a very large hole in their life. A father, a grandfather. He had a fiance, I understand, and as I say, I don't, I can't really see anything more than that. He always came across as a gentleman, and may he rest in peace.
Indeed, I agree with you.
So, anyway, that's, I think, probably as good a place as any to leave it, my friend. And I will play the little jingle for Iron Supporting Food Banks, and we will wish you guys a fond farewell. We will see you. We're going to have to go again tomorrow, aren't we?
Yes, if we can go maybe half 6ish if you're
Yeah.
available, 7, because obviously I am doing the music here tomorrow night.
Okay.
There is football. Oxford's Monday. What's tomorrow? Man U Everton. Yes.
I think so.
Man U Everton tomorrow, so I might have to do the music after that.
Okay.
But if we can go between 6:30 and 7, that'll be good. And then Sunday, if we're able to go at about 10 o'clock, if that
Yep.
works for you, because
No
obviously I'm doing all day Sunday. So
Yeah, well, we'll finish it off with the Iron Supporting Food Bank promotion, which is something that, from what I understand, was something that both David Gold and David Sullivan were wholehearted supporters of. So we'll play out with that, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Come on, you Irons! Forge from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from LEEWHU Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the LEEWHU community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, LEEWHU Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons.